Hello, hello, hello. Good morning here from Asia. It's 10:30 here, and I know that US can tune in too, so it must be evening there. So excited. I have already the two panelists for this session in backstage, so I will be quickly bringing them up. Enjoy. This session is about collaboration and diversity. Very excited, and I will be bringing up Lauren and Paili, and they will be joining me on stage. Good morning, ladies. So nice to
Good
see you
morning.
here.
Hello.
So beautiful. So I love your topic. I will be giving you as much time as possible. So I will be leaving and I let you explore this beautiful topic of collaboration and co-creation of diverse team. Enjoy the session. Bye bye.
Hi, Billy.
Hey,
How
hi,
are
hello.
you?
I'm good. How about you?
Great, great. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so what do you have today?
Yeah, we're talking about collaboration and diverse teams, right?
hmm
So, like, what thoughts do you have? Maybe you share first.
Yeah, so me being a Malaysian, have always been growing up in multicultural society. Yeah, and of course, even though I'm in a multicultural society, there's majority and minority. So I'm one of the minority. So growing up, I've always been, sensitized or to condition to be sensitive to other people's needs. And I
Mm,
believe this is what we really need when we have a diverse team around us to really be sensitive to what other people are thinking, feeling, the way they perceive things, to just, minus out all this misunderstanding.
yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's such an interesting perspective because I'm from Singapore, and you
Mm,
know that Singapore, like, maybe Chinese, being Chinese is more like the dominant race. So, but at the
mm,
same time, I think it's also very important that for us to be conscious of the minorities, or even to make sure that there's diversity. And so, I mean, hearing from your end and my end, I think that's pretty interesting. Um, Maybe I could share maybe like one thing about, I always feel that it's like usually about unconscious biases, right?
uh,
Yeah. Yeah, so I think a lot of times, like even like for me, okay, so I speak it for me. Like even for me, a common, usual thing I will experience is like because we speak Mandarin very often. So in the end, you could be in a group, in a social setting, and we're like speaking Mandarin. But if we are actually conscious, we realize that maybe there are some people in that
mm,
group that are not speaking Mandarin. And
mm,
I think it's about like being by being collaborative. It's also to be aware, that there are others that might not be fully understanding the language, and to put a hand up and say, oh, this is we let's change the channel, let's go to English channel, to speak
mm.
English. Yeah.
And that's so important. One thing I learned is to learn to be like real, to be listening to our body. If we feel uncomfortable, we need to speak up. So let's say if I'm in a team where, I suddenly switch to my mother tongue,
Mm,
not realizing because we are so used to it.
yeah.
In Malaysia we call it rojak. Rojak is this mixed fruits. Where we mix languages, we all easily know three languages, any
Oh,
one
no
of us.
worries. Singapore also the same.
Yeah, so
Sama
so
sama.
yeah, so if you are uncomfortable, you need to let us know so that
Mm,
we can tune back to to the main language or the language that you could understand, so help us
mm.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think what I'm hearing, what you said, it's about being aware on both sides, right? Like,
Mm,
for being aware of ourselves, how we are, to others, but also in terms of, and also be aware of others, how they might be perceiving, or, in the whatever the team setting that we have.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Now, if just to speak up is easy, hey, sorry, I don't understand. Can you switch the language? But what I find challenging is when it's something that is confrontational. Again,
Mm,
in our Asian culture, or maybe, I don't know about Singapore, for us, we are very nice people. Malaysian are very nice. We don't like to confront. We like to live in peace, in harmony. So even
mm.
though we are not happy, we will just suck it up.
I think
And
it's the same. It's the same. I think maybe it's about being human, right? I mean, we all want to work together with everyone. We want to like get along with everyone. So I think it's about having um communication skills. Things like deep listening. to listen deeply. And also, I think there are some ways that, like you said, when it is difficult, there are certain ways to communicate it. So in positive psychology, there's something called non-violent communications. I don't know if you heard about it. Like to speak in a way that we are aware of something and address it in a non-violent way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I saw a comment just now. It's so important that company has got team building activities, and that
Mm.
also boils down to the boss. Sometimes some bosses, yeah, we know, you they may give you the space to talk, but after you share, you don't feel that they take in your opinion. So then eventually we learn, what's the point of sharing?
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree. I think leadership have to walk the talk. That's one
Mm,
thing that I always believe. One thing is about, because I'm very strong about building positive cultures. And
mm,
one thing about positive cultures is being mindful of others, being open, non-judgmental. And that applies for everyone, so including leaders. So when we ask for feedback, the leaders also would we would have, as leaders, we would have to be open to feedback as well.
mm.
And
Yes.
in not judging, but really staying curious and say, okay, maybe I don't quite agree with it, but let me hear more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that, stay curious.
Yes, yes,
And one of
yes.
the things that I kind of like learned the trick or just noticed that, when people say, that's an interesting idea. So,
Mm,
technically, subconsciously, I also know that maybe they don't like my idea, but it's a nice way of putting it. But it doesn't make me feel defensive,
yes,
but at least I,
exactly.
I feel I have expressed my thoughts. If you take in my opinion, that's good. But if you don't, it's okay because I know I have that voice, that platform to just share
Yeah,
what I.
yeah, I totally agree. I think I think what we call that like positive communication. So in
Mm,
positive psychology, there's something about talking about the affirmative bias, where we focus on what's good and what's
mm,
working. So when someone says something, instead of, a lot of times, a lot of companies, will say, or even teams, they would, or even like us, we have a negative bias, and we will always look at what's wrong, what's wrong with this person, or what's wrong with the project, what's going wrong. But actually, if we look at it in the other way, which is the positive, it's on the solutions, what's working well, what is when is it not a problem, and that actually would open up more communication, open up more openness instead of defensiveness, like what you said.
mm. Let's
Mm.
let's try to attempt the question that came out just now.
Yeah,
The
okay.
main leadership is located in a different country or continent altogether, and the Malaysian company is just a smaller subsidy. Who would have to adjust to whose value? Good question, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. I think it's there are company in terms of company values, but there's
Mm.
also values that is within the country, right? There's certain cultures. So I think it's about be able to marry both of them, be conscious of both. What do you think?
Exactly. Whether you are the majority or the minority, I think both way has to like partner together and be in agreement that we will respect one another in terms
Yeah, and
of
talking,
values.
communicating. Oh, you're
Yes.
saying something? Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
communicating openly, right? And in a respectful way. So I
yes.
think Andres was saying about, how is it possible to collaborate easily?
Mm,
Um, I think it all starts from ourselves. It's about openness, being open to listen first before we speak. What do you
mm.
think? Mm,
Yes. I'm a counselor by profession. Active listening is the thing. You know, when you just give the person that space to share what they have in mind, yeah, and when the person has air out whatever they thought, they don't feel defensive, they feel relaxed, and after you have heard them, now you earn the right to share. Yeah. So I
yeah,
always
yeah.
like Stephen Covey's principle: seek first to
Mm,
understand, then to
yes.
be
Yes,
understood.
yes, that's a great principle, and I totally agree. Because I think it's that if we keep speaking, and we're not really hearing the person, so the communication is missed, right?
Yes,
And if
right.
we listen first, then we'll be able to meet that person where they are. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because sometimes we tend to want to give advice. Whether
Mm,
you're a boss, you're the mother, you're the authority figure, you want to just put things in control, or you want to control things the way you want them to be. So
mm,
the beauty thing about diverse team, we have multiple experiences, multiple opinion, and let's brainstorm together and create something together, so that
mm,
it has a little bit of your culture, my culture. You know, these are valueless. Put
And
in,
everybody comes with different backgrounds, right? Yeah, yeah. I think
yeah.
there's a question about building diverse teams, and I
Mm,
think that's a great question. It's like how can we build diverse teams?
mm.
Haley, do you want to share any ideas?
I think what we have thought about just now was building up to building a diverse team. First, really, I think for me, I would want to know myself first. What do I want being involved in this diverse team? Yeah,
Mm,
and what is expected of me, and what is expected of that organization. So once I
mm,
kind of know what I'm getting myself into, and if I think I can meet their needs, I join. And then if I think and now of course I will not join if I don't find any value for myself. So
mm,
being honest with myself, that makes me easy to decide even if things turns difficult or go against my will. But because I
mm,
have an end in mind, that makes
mm,
me want to hang in there, because being in diversity, there'll be lots of conflict and challenges. Yeah.
mm,
About
mm.
marriage, even if it's the same culture, married one another, there's so much conflict because we are all
Yeah.
just human.
I don't like to call it conflict though. I like to call it challenges. I think it's like everybody has is and that's actually diversity, if I want to call it that way. Because all of us are kind of different, but at the same time we are the same in a lot of things. We are humans, we have two eyes, one nose, one mouth, and it's about bridging the understanding. And one thing I find that diverse team, one thing I try to avoid is to bring people that are like me. Because in
Mm,
the end, there's not really diversity, because I feel that when you want to say be diverse, you really bring someone that has a different like skill sets or even maybe different thinking. But of course, we have to be aligned in terms of the overall goal. But then someone that has a different perspective, I think that would even make collaboration even more interesting. And diverse team, I think it's important that it's diverse, but it needs to be inclusive and you need to belong. Yeah.
how does diverse team in an organization affects the organization's behavior or chemistry? What are your thoughts?
Mm, organization behavior or chemistry. Um,
I think
I
the
think.
first thing that comes to mind for me, first thing that comes to mind is about leadership. How does the leader wants to create the culture there?
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it starts with the culture. Starts from the top, right? It starts from the culture. The leadership and culture has to be like sort of like put in. You cannot allow it to evolve organically, if I want to put it that way. If I would say that, it could be even simple things like rituals. Some organizations, they're very good at it. They establish rituals that sets the values and the culture of the company.
Mm.
um like, I think my personal opinion is, because I do positive psychology, right? So there's a lot of interventions, what we call, that to actually help to build positive emotions, help to bridge connections. For example, like a very classic one, they say is three good things. So you would think about three good things in your day. And
Mm.
imagine if you have a ritual in the company where before you start the meeting, let's talk about three good things. What are the three good things that happen in your lives? So I mean, imagine that then you have suddenly you have openness. You learn more about each other. At the same time, there's a kind of a connection.
Then I wonder, will we go to the other extreme where we all choose to just see the positive and not confront the hard issues?
It's not about. Yeah, I think that's the thing. That's actually I mean, this is my opinion lah. A lot of companies are worried about that because they say that, oh, we have to focus on the hard issues. But I mean, what I've learned from psychology is that if you keep focusing on the weakness, you couldn't really harness your strengths. So if you look at like a sailboat, the weaknesses is the base of the boat, the holes that's on the base of your boat, and the sails are your strengths. So if the strengths, and that can apply for a person, it can apply for organization. So the organization, if they focus on what their strengths are, they can actually go far further than if you
Mm,
keep fixing the base of the boat. But then at the same time, we will still need to, of course, ensure that the holes are not too big, that that the water sinks in and the boat sinks, right? But maybe a little bit of water, okay lah, but you focus on growing the company and on what it's good at. Or, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think therefore the leadership comes in play
Mm,
as well, where it has the person has to learn to delegate and let go of certain of his control and empower the staff, so that when the staff are empowered, they can really probably take the boat, sailing to a different course, or which is better.
mm,
We
mm.
don't know what will happen, but we just have to take some risks and try. And of course, as a
Yeah,
leader, it will be a calculated risk at his part or her part.
yeah. But yeah, it's not only the leader. I think it's like it's everyone is on board. So if it's a company, the leader has to, it works both ways, right? So it's to listen to everybody else.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
We have
include the
yeah,
deaf.
yeah, deaf. Actually, I know someone that can answer this very well. I'm sure. Like I know a friend of mine. He works with a lot of physically disabled people. He's really very his job is really very inspiring.
Mm,
But if I give my 2 cents, my very little 2 cents is I think it go back to openness. Understanding what their needs are, and then be able to find ways to maybe adjust the processes or the ways to work together to to make the person feel included.
yeah,
What do you
not just what their need, but what are their strength? What can they contribute? I remember I
that's
have a
amazing.
visually impaired staff. So
Mm,
one day we were going out for lunch, and
mm.
then he could smell. I think there's watermelon seller here. I said no. I was well. There's nobody selling watermelon. Yes, there is, because he could smell it, but actually it was blocked by the van.
Oh
He couldn't see.
wow.
So they
Wow.
have a different set of talents.
Yes, exactly. So it's not disabled, right? It's actually that like different, everybody have different skills, and it's the same
Differently
mostly
able.
for yeah. Yeah, they can, yeah. Oh, that's so incredible.
Yeah,
Could you
that's
share a
why.
bit more? Like, how do you work with, that team member? Or how do you integrate? Maybe you have your experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was actually the so-called the operator of the
Mm,
organization, of the company. Yeah,
mm,
and he memorized. His memory is so good, and he
mm,
could recognize, our voice. So let's say
mm,
for people who are hearing impaired,
mm.
what do you think would be their extra strength that we would not have?
Mm, definitely maybe the observation skills,
Yeah.
because they cannot listen. So I'm sure they'll be more attuned to, like even the micro body language, or even
Yes,
a
the
little
speed of
expressions.
lips. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they can even lip read.
Yeah, they know whether you're talking bad about them or not. Yeah, so don't underestimate anyone. Yeah, who are
Yes,
truly
yes,
able
yes,
at
yes.
their
I think it
knowledge.
goes back to openness and being non-judgmental, and in the end, realizing that all of us, no matter what, whether whoever we are, whatever race or gender, or even there's other tiny little things. It could be even like age and all that. We are all humans
Mm,
essentially, and
mm,
I think one thing that struck me right, and I learned in positive psychology is that we are all wired to connect, and
yes.
yeah, and we have to, we really can build connections. We want to build
Mm,
connections.
mm,
And one thing that troubles me, actually, seeing that a lot of organizations are sort of, I could say, stripping away the humanity parts of us. I read this book, by Molly Rogers. It's a very good book. It's an emotional inclusion, and she
mm,
talks about, we should bring all this back into the workplace. And actually, that is important because we're all humans, and being human, we can collaborate better. Yeah.
yes. And because we are made to connect, it's always good to bring out the best in one another and not to
Mm,
condemn. Our words are so powerful, you know.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So it's good that we are able to really bring out the best and encourage and empower one another. Now, I think for these questions that I'm seeing right now, first
Mm.
thing first, has she accepted that she is visually impaired right now? Yeah, she got to get her emotional state right first, and learn to accept that, this will be one part of her life that is lost, and she has to find new way, a new normal for her. Yeah. So like I said earlier on, what sort of job that's suitable for her, you got to, yeah, I need to know more of her, because we are not confining them to just a receptionist in our organization.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the thing is a lot of employers or whatever they will say, oh, because they are physically challenged, so they only can do certain things. But I think all of them are humans. So in all of them have their own aspirations and passions. So it's about really listening to her and see what she really wants to do, you know. And that is goes back again to the respect, the openness, being not judgmental, and then for her finding herself, and that's where she you'll find most fulfilling.
Yeah, that's right. I
Mm.
see Andrea is here.
Yeah.
We got
Wrap up time. Wrap up time. I enjoy the conversation, so I let you wrap up your session first.
yeah. What do you think? Who would like to? So my last message for all of us is uh, to be our best, to be authentic, yeah, be real to ourselves, and then if we are not happy, we are not comfortable, we need to voice out. Yeah, nobody can read our mind. Yeah, so we have to really take care of ourselves. If you are in a diverse team, yeah, don't assume
Mm,
everyone thinks like you.
mm, mm. And I will speak on the other side. I think it's also to be open and not judgmental, to even be wary, how our certain behaviors might be affecting others, or like our body language. Mm. So
Yeah,
then we can meet halfway, and then there's collaboration, and with collaboration there will be co-creation.
yeah, that's right. What a good way to end. Collaboration and co-creation. Yeah. And you will be surprised, if you don't come in with a rigid mindset, or this is how we want it. Yeah. And that's where, the things that come out, it's really going to be very impressive, I believe.
Yeah. No, that's
Thank you so much, ladies. This is amazing. Thank you for the share. It was really like a really splendid cafe discussion from your living room, sharing your Malaysian Singaporean perspectives and your different backgrounds in professions. I really loved how you both merged for this one session and put everything together. And I hope that the audience see the power of diversity here, how people can put together two different minds although, as Lauren said, just humans coming together in the similarity in the differences and sharing about the topic of collaboration and co-creation. So thank you so much, ladies. It was wonderful to have you with us, Lauren, for the first
thank
time,
you.
Kelly for many times already. And
Yes.
I'm looking forward for more. Kelly will be coming back to us. And Lauren, thank you for your first panel discussion. Really
Thank you for the
enjoyed.
opportunity. Yes.
Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for those who have
Thank you
responded.
so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
Have a good
everyone.
day.
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Have a good morning day.
Thank you so much for being here.